What's happening, guys? Today I got a little special video for you. You guys have been asking me to elaborate a little bit more on some firearms and whatnot. So today I brought out the beginner rifle that I set a lot of new shooters up with whenever they come onto the show, haven't shot before and everything. And I'll explain a little bit why I chose this rifle versus some of the other stuff out there. If you're a beginner shooter, you might want to go over to 22 Plinkster, check some of his stuff out. He does a really good job of introducing people to 22 rifles and whatnot, 22 pistols. I think the Ruger 1022 is probably one of the better rifles that you can start out with if you're looking to purchase one, but whenever I have people out to the range, I set up a specific scenario for them so that they can get over their fear of shooting, follow through with their trigger, and breathe a little bit better whenever they're shooting. And the Spikes Tactical ST22 has that tactical look to it. It's got the fake integrated suppressor on the front, it's got the full Picatinny rail system on it here, it's got the collapsible buttstock and everything. In my opinion, this is way overpriced, and just for the sake of letting you guys know, this isn't a sponsored video. I'm always 100% honest with my opinions no matter what, but this was not given to me. It was not donated, or I wasn't paid to give an opinion, but I will say this, that its tactical look generally gives people an impression of what they see in the movies and all that other stuff. And when they come out to the range, they have to have a fast learning curve. And I do this for a few reasons. One, this is a 22. Sometimes I'll use subsonic ammo instead of high velocity or standard velocity stuff. So it's really, really underwhelming when people shoot it. It has this really, I guess you could say, aggressive tactical look to it. Sometimes I'll take and I'll put lights on it. I might put a laser or something on it and just set it up that way. So when people see it, they see all this stuff on it. I might put an ACOG. Generally, I like to go with a red dot sight just because it's really easy for people. It's not magnified. All they have to do is put it up on target, see where the red dot is, and pull the trigger. Of course, I strip all that stuff off. I strip the light and the laser and all that other laser indicator and everything off whenever they go to shoot it, because I don't want anything to hinder their ability to aim. But the reason why I go that route instead of the Ruger 1022 is because, again, they have these preconceived notions if they're a new shooter that, you know, they see all the stuff from the movies and all this other stuff. So I want them to shoot something that is somewhat similar in look, but way less recoil than if they were to shoot a 5.56 or a 223 caliber rifle to begin with. And that's important because whenever I put them up on the 223 or the 5.56, I don't want them flinching on the trigger whenever they're aiming on a magnified optic. And whenever I put someone immediately on that, generally what happens is they'll wince or they won't follow through on their trigger, and they're just completely all over the place. Whenever I start people off on these, almost 9 times out of 10, I would say 10 times out of 10, because pretty much everybody I've ever had come out to the range or whatnot, I start them off shooting with the ST22. I mean, by the end of the day, I mean, when there's dope on a scope and it's on, it's on. So if you do your job as an instructor and you get people breathing right, following through on their trigger response, and properly holding the rifle right and whatnot, it's just easy. I mean, all the work's already done. So it's a fun rifle. It's got that tactical look to it. Now, if you are looking to purchase one, I would say go the Ruger 1022 route. This thing is way more money than what most people would want to pay for a beginner rifle. Spikes Tactical makes really, really, really good quality stuff. I think they have a lifetime warranty on pretty much everything that they manufacture, if not everything. And this thing is at the $900 price point. I think it's $800, $850 with some change just for the upper. You get the lower, you get the collapsible buttstock, you get an optic, or you get a red dot sight or something like that, you're gonna end up spending anywhere from $1,000 to $1,500 or more. And that can add up really, really fast. It's a little excessive for a beginner 22 if you ask me. But for the sake of doing what I do, I like setting people up on this to shoot for the first time because, again, it has that tactical look. Now, I know I'm going a little bit more detailed into this video talking about what I like and what I don't like, but you guys asked for it. All of my videos won't be like this, but maybe I'll do more later on down the road and whatnot. But to keep on going with this, what I like and what I don't like about it, one of the things I really don't like is the system itself. There's so many things that are very particular. The 22 semi-automatic rifles that I've found, the 22 uppers and whatnot, the quality control is good for a lot of manufacturers. A lot of manufacturers it's not. And you take that, you combine that with good, poor ammo, mix them in here and there, along with the different types of magazine. You have Black Dog, I believe you have Smith & Wesson. You have a bunch of different types of 22 magazines to choose from out there. I really like the M&P series magazines. They do a really good job of feeding and everything, but what I found is if everything in the equation isn't perfect, you start to get jams, and if you combine that with the California compliant bullet button that a lot of guys are required to have in the state of California. Now, I have a dangerous weapons permit, and I can have a fully automatic lower. I can have one without a bullet button on it and whatnot, but for the sake of new shooters, I generally put them on one with a bullet button, so it's a fixed magazine. And the bullet buttons can cause a lot of problems for the 22s because it doesn't always seat right, so you have to make sure everything is properly tightened up on it, depending on what type of lock you have, if you have a rad lock, if you have a standard bullet button or whatnot. And I found you mix that in with ammo, the magazines, and the uppers themselves, you're setting yourself up for double feeds, you're setting yourself up for jams. Sometimes the bolt won't slide all the way back in and seat properly, so when you pull the trigger, you get nothing. I mean, there's just a bunch of malfunctions that you can get, and I'll probably end up going through a lot of them today whenever I go through Google Glass. So that's something that you can't really pinpoint on the manufacturer of the upper, of the magazine, of the ammo. I mean, sometimes it's just the combination of all four things, the bullet button, the upper, the magazine, and the ammunition. Sometimes it's just one in the equation, but nonetheless, it's a big headache. If you get a Ruger 1022, generally those things just cycle through whatever kind of garbage ammo you get or whatnot. But I keep telling you to do this, but it's true. You can go over to 22 Plingster's channel. The guy's got a ton of 22 stuff for beginner shooters and whatnot, and you can go through his library of pistols and rifles and whatnot and figure out what works best for you. Going into a little bit about what I'm doing today, I'm gonna do a little bit of first-person shooting here with Google Glass. And I don't do this that often, and the reason why is when you look through the Google Glass, your eye level is right here, but the camera is off to the top and to the right a little bit. So to look through a magnified scope, you're gonna be off the reticle, and the camera won't see what you're shooting at if you're looking through your eye. But if you take and you move down, you're not going to be able to see it, and you're going to have to look through the camera and hope that that little monitor displays the reticle where you can see it. So I crank up the red dot sight all the way on full blast, and even then it's still really, really light to see. So I'm going to put that on, and I'm going to see what I can go through, see if I can get through a few malfunctions with this guy today and whatnot, and shoot some reactive steel. Now that's another thing that I like to do on new shooters is I don't focus so much, once I know that the optics are dialed in, I just focus on getting them to get on target. Today I have the action targets, rimfire, blue steel, PT hostage, and the dueling tree. And the reason why I like to use those instead of paper targets is because whenever the new shooter goes out, what I like for them to focus on is their breathing, their trigger follow through, of course firearm safety and whatnot, and just getting up on target and getting used to firing the firearm. After they've gone through a few magazines on the dueling tree and the hostage target and whatnot, then I'll graduate them up to a magnified optic, the Trijicon ACOG or something like that, and then I'll put them on a higher velocity, higher caliber rifle like the 223 or 5.56 or 300 Blackout or something like that. I've graduated people up from the ST22 to 223 5.56 all the way up to 50 BMG in the same day, and just watching them put a lot of rounds down range and everything. If I put someone right away on the 50 BMG, they're already tensing up and they're scared, and when they go to shoot on target, if I go to put them up on a target at 100 yards with a 50 BMG, which isn't really that much of a challenge for the 50, but on a new shooter, if they anticipate the shot too much, they're just gonna pull on it and they're gonna be way off target. But I found that whenever I graduate them up, by the end of the day, when I do put them on the 50 to shoot the targets, I believe with the source-fed stuff, when I had Steve and Trish and Meg and everyone out, I started them out on 22 and graduated them up to 50 BMG, and they were just crushing it at the end of the day. So it's really about how you approach it. Again, don't take my advice as law, because a lot of instructors do things in a lot of different ways. It's just what I found personally works for me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up a couple of magazines here. I'm gonna put on the Google Glass, and I'm gonna run through on the dueling tree and on the PT hostage, and we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want to see me do a more thorough review on any type of weapon system, even this time I didn't really go into a lot of the details on the ST22 here. I just went over some of the things that I liked and I disliked, of course, some of the techniques and whatnot that I use on the new shooters. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see me get a little bit more long-winded about the stuff that I like, be it the optics, the ammunition, the firearm itself, doing more stuff POV, and don't forget new episodes every single week right here on Rated RR. See y'all next time.